Now on Fox 32 News at 9, the search for the Trump jumpers. 3 men who dove off the famous tower along the Chicago River.
Also tonight, a local place for Mexican fare is at the center of an E. coli scare. Tonight, only on Fox, the food that one woman said got her so sick and why she wants the restaurant to pay for it.
Good evening, I'm Bob Surratt.
And I'm Darlene Hill. In tonight for Robin Robinson, Giovanni Donnacricchia. His name and restaurant became famous after making it on several television shows. But tonight, it's his name that's being mourned by his family and fans. That entrepreneur was shot and killed around 12:30 this morning at his restaurant Albano's in Cicero. He died trying to protect his wife from an armed robber. Dane Placo has been following that story. He joins us now from the newsroom with a big loss for the community. Dane, tell us.
It really is, Darlene.
All right, Craig Wall tonight. Thank you so much for that update. Well, the search is on tonight for 3 daredevils who took a flying leap off the top of the Trump Tower. Police have released these surveillance pictures of the men as they climbed the stairs to the top. Now, police say tonight the jumpers used a lock cutter to get access to the roof, then apparently parachuted 1,400 feet to the ground below. We'll have the very latest. That's my story on the search for the base jumpers coming up in about 10 minutes for you. Well, it didn't take long for jurors to make a decision in the sex slave trial. A verdict came down in federal court just hours after deliberations began this evening. The jury decided Kevin Anderson did not psychologically scar his ex-wife by reportedly forcing her to be his sex slave. Kimberly O'Brien filed a multi-million-dollar civil lawsuit against him. She claims he tied her up and took provocative photos of her, among a number of other things. Anderson has always maintained it was O'Brien's idea. Well, my mind starts thinking about this on Monday, and it's never too early to look at the weekend. So let's check in right now with Chief Meteorologist Bill Bellis out on the Fox Plaza at Lake Michigan with what more we can expect. And I'm hearing 90s. Did you say that?
Yeah, 90s, Darlene. Really on and off for the next 6 days.
And up next, the Trump Tower base jumpers, how police say they did it and the charges they could face if they're ever caught. Tonight's Stalker, take an educated guess. What percentage of Americans do you think are on prescription medication right now? Here's a hint. It's more than 50%, way more. The story is ahead. You can tell us right now if you think America is getting the medicine it needs or if we're over-medicated. Some days we all feel that way. Post a comment on Facebook.com/Fox Chicago News. On Twitter, we are at Fox 32 News. Stay with us, everybody. We'll be right back. Here we go. The story a lot of people have been talking and tweeting about today. This is a live look at the Trump Tower downtown there on Wabash. Police investigators are trying to figure out how 3 guys got onto the roof and took a 92-story dive. That daring jump may land the daredevils in jail, but not because of the fall, but because police say they broke the locks off the doors to get to the tower's highest point. They jumped off Trump Tower and lived to talk about it.
I think first time I crawled over the ledge, I would be terrified, and with these wind currents and everything, I think that gentleman would have to have some, I think in Spanish they would say huevos.
It's the perfect building to do it from. You got a beautiful area around here, best buildings, best place in the city right here, so.
Okay, you're a daredevil.
I'm not really a daredevil, I wouldn't do it. But I give props to the people that do it.
The late-night leapers were bold enough to jump, but so far, they're not bold enough to post their stunt on the internet. Police, however, posted these pictures of how the thrill seekers got on top of the second tallest building in Chicago. They need the public's help in identifying them. For now, Police Superintendent Gary McCarthy says security will always be a top priority.
We're always in contact with building owners regarding security, not just for incidents like this, but mostly regarding terrorism.
Police say the daredevils got in by cutting the locks off some of the doors. They climbed the stairs, yep, that's 92 stories, only to base jump off the building. This is practice video when the movie Transformers was being shot here in Chicago back in 2010. Base jumpers did it, made it look easy, but the scene was secure, and there were no pedestrians below.
Not my cup of tea, but I would be excited to see it.
Got anything like that on your bucket list?
The jumping part? No, more the lying down and the cabana boys and the peeled grapes.
Now, officials at Trump Tower tonight are not talking about how the jumpers were able to get on the roof after the Trump's bars and restaurants closed. Access to the hotel and private residences require a key card. So a lot of people over there wondering tonight if there was an inside job going on over there. Somebody helped them get in, because after 10 or 11 o'clock, you can't get up to the rooms after without a key.
Talk about a great night for Blackhawks fans. Another win at the United Center.
Now the Hawks are just one win away from again saying, hello, Stanley.
Good evening to you. I'm Amara Walker.
And I'm Darlene Hill. Larry is off tonight. Tonight's score of the game, 3-1. Deion Miller is here with more on what happened in between. Talk about excitement and an early ending.
Oh, yeah, a fantastic ending in regulation. Home, the Madhouse was rocking, and they were able to take advantage.
The Madhouse was rocking it. I'm sure the people there, the fans there in the stands, hoping that it would go into overtime because, of course, they paid so much for the tickets.
Well, absolutely, and it's been 6 straight weeks now of playoff hockey on a Saturday night.
Do you want them to win there in Boston, or do you want them to come back for Game 7 here on Madison?
You know, I think a lot of fans would want them to come back or to be able to win it at home.
So Lou will have that, and we've got Tisha Lewis over there at the United Center working some of the fans, so hopefully we'll be able to catch up with her in a live report as well from the United Center, the Madhouse on Madison.
Joining us right now is a reporter who broke the story, Darlene Hill.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, and congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
September 2009, about 9 months ago, you got an assignment that would change your life.
Yeah. It was an assignment that was because of, in Chicago, a number of high school students had been killed, maybe 50 the year before. So it was a story that we just, you know, go out into the community, get some video, maybe find a witness that knew this student, and just add water and stir, and we just report on that story. But this time when I found out that there was some video of the actual beating of Darrien Albert, that, of course, changed the face of the violence in the community.
So they sent you out to the community to say, go find the video. How soon from they sent you out did you come back with it?
I got the assignment about 12 o'clock, and my assignment editor Lisa Vasco received a call saying that this footage is out there, track it down. 6 or 7 hours later, because of my contacts and strong ties with the community, I had that tape in my hand, and I was on the phone telling my news director, Carol Fowler, you won't believe this. Are we going to be able to show it? Do we want to show it?
And we showed it here,
yeah.
And it was so incredibly difficult for anyone to watch.
It was horrible.
But it garnered immediate national attention. Suddenly you had President Obama speaking about it. You had the Secretary of Education, Arnie Duncan, speaking about it.
Eric Holder was in town for that. It was just one of those stories where people in the community had been talking about the lessons that some of the students learned in Chicago, the lessons that they learned to and from school on the streets is much harder than what they had to go through in the classroom. So we actually, to actually have that kind of footage, it put a face on the violence in the community.
And what has happened since then?
The community has demanded change, and that's why I say we joke about this in the newsroom, but this Peabody Award belongs to the people in Chicago. The people who have for years talked about how bad it is in their community. They've demanded change. Now when schools close in Chicago, no longer do they just shut them down and just and integrate some of these gangs. They think about it now, because that's what it's all about. I mean, these rival gangbangers getting together and going to the same school, and they wonder why they're frustrated.
But it's important to point out that this young 16-year-old killed was an honors student.
He was an honors student.
He was not involved in the gang.
And none of the children, actually none of the students in the video were gangbangers. They were just students who lived in one neighborhood, a poor, disadvantaged neighborhood, and other students that lived in the projects. They didn't want to mix. They didn't want them coming into their community, taking over their school. Yeah. So the changes that have occurred, the way we close down schools, the number of police officers sitting in front of some of the violent schools at the end and at the beginning of the day, that has changed. And then the community, of course, they just want to make sure that instead of just talking about some of the violence, actually do something about it. So they just demand a change.
Well, Darlene Hill, thanks so much for sharing your story. Congratulations on the award.
Thank you so much.
For you and the whole team.
Thank you. Everybody over there. Thank you, guys.
Chicago.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Darlene Hill spoke to her parents tonight and has our report live from Comer Children's Hospital. Darlene.
Yeah, Bob, not a conversation I wanted to have tonight with those grieving parents. They tell me that their 15-year-old daughter was a special kid. She was excited about having attended the presidential inauguration in Washington, D.C. just a couple of weeks ago, and she was looking forward to spending part of the summer in Paris as part of a student exchange program. But instead of finalizing those plans, they're now making funeral arrangements. You never get used to hearing a mother's moans and cries when she loses a child. Hadiah Pendleton was killed this afternoon, gunned down in a park near her high school on Chicago's South Side. What would you say to the people who pulled the trigger?
Shame on you. Shame on you. Really? Like, what were you thinking? These are just children.
Witnesses told police the 15-year-old sophomore had just finished taking exams at King College Prep. Classes were dismissed early, so Pendleton and her friends went to the park to hang out. Moments later, witnesses say a young man appeared with a gun and randomly started shooting.
The school was good, but the neighborhood was not, and that when we stepped foot outside the school, anything could happen to us.
King High School made news last month when the students staged a protest, a 3-hour sit-in about the school's new after-school policy. The principal no longer allowed the students to wait in the school at the end of the day while waiting for their parents to pick them up. Some of the students told me their classmate would still be alive had the school doors been open.
If we were able to be in a place that we could call like our safe haven after the bell rings, after school is out of session, I don't think it would have happened.
Tonight, CPS officials tell us that after the sit-in, they changed their policy and now allow students to wait inside the school for their parents to pick them up, but many of them do not. Pendleton was an honor student, a majorette at King, and played on the school's volleyball team.
I'm not worried about where she's going. I know who has her. I just miss her. My heart, there's a whole section of my heart that's gone.
Her father says she was a good kid who always did the right thing. He's upset that more isn't being done to stop the senseless shootings in Chicago.
Get the guns out of the hands of the people that don't need to have them.
Now, I can tell you also tonight that, Bob, that a local community organization is offering a $1,000 reward for any information leading to the arrest. And we did just receive a late email tonight from the Chicago Police Department telling us that the 15-year-old victim was in the park with 10 or 12 other students. They tell us in the email that the female victim does not have a history, and there's an arrest history, and there's no indication that she was part of a gang. However, preliminary information at this point indicates that most of the members of the group with her were gang members, and that none of them, I repeat, Bob, none of them stuck around to help her or to give them any information on what they saw. Back to you in the studio.
Fox 32's Darlene Hill is in Washington, D.C. tonight. She was first to talk with the Pendleton family about the charges that are now filed against 2 teens. Darlene?
Yeah, Bob, I talked to Hadia's family just a short time after those charges were announced there in Chicago. Her mother, father, brother, aunts, uncles, and even her grandmother in town, about a dozen of them in town for the president's address. It was a very emotional day for them because they say those charges, the arrest, well, they come just one day before the president is supposed to speak to the nation about gun violence. Here's what they had to tell us.
I am amazed. I'm so excited. I'm happy that the murder of Hadia Pendleton is now off the street. I look forward and I hope that they are convicted to the fullest extent of the law. And I'm going to be in court every day of this till the results are shared with us.
And you said there's no such thing as closure on this?
No such thing. No such thing at all. I mean, how do I put closure on the rest of her life? There's no such thing. I'm robbed. She was only 15 years old.
Did you ever have any doubt that you would get to this point so quickly?
You know, I didn't have a time frame on it, but I did hope that she wouldn't be another cold case. You know, Rahm Emanuel has been phenomenal. McCarthy has been phenomenal. And, you know, I know that all the necessary efforts were put forth on trying to reach some resolve. So I'm very happy to hear that they've apprehended these 2 criminals.
And, Dad, your thoughts?
I'm ecstatic. But it's not over yet. We are looking for a conviction. And like she said, kudos to Chicago PD. Man, you all did a great job. McCarthy, McGavin, you guys worked close with us. You kept us, involved, and, thank you.
And Mama Cleo, you are going to be part of the State of the Union address. The president may be speaking directly to you when he is talking about gun violence. Your child, sadly, has become a poster child of gangs and gun violence in Chicago. Not something that you said you wanted, but you're glad the issue is being addressed.
Absolutely. I'm happy the issue is being addressed. I'm happy that her death is not in vain. And if they had to have a poster child, I'm happy number 42 made it. but number 40,
That's right.
1 through 41 were equally as important. So we're going to do some things. Hopefully, some changes are to come.
And Nathaniel, you said something about your daughter being a poster child. What do you say about the suspect, the gunman in this? He's going to have to be what?
I want them to be a poster child for every criminal to say that I don't want to be this guy.
Now, again, we just caught up with the family a short time ago, less than 30 minutes ago, Bob, coming out of a restaurant here in Washington, D.C. Hadia's mother says, Mama Cleo says, that she's become a part of a sorority that she never wanted to be a part of. And that's mothers, of course, who know what this pain, who knows what this pain feels like. 120 families from across the nation are here in Chicago for a Mayors Against Illegal Guns. They will be meeting on Capitol Hill tomorrow, hours before President Barack Obama addresses the nation in his State of the Union address. Again, as you said, Hadia Pendleton's parents will be part of that. She says she hopes to hear her name mentioned in that, but she's glad, she says, that at least the conversation has come up, that the nation is forced to address the issue of gun violence in this country. She says she never wants another mother to feel the pain that she's feeling today. And she said, sadly, Bob, that this is the first time that her son has flown on an airplane. And she said, really? For this? This is sad. Back to you in Chicago, Bob.
Darlene Hill in the nation's capital tonight. Darlene, thank you.